It's in the name.
This episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast is brought to you by Howell Wealth Management. On the Helping Healing Humor podcast, we talk about anxiety and stress and its impact on our everyday lives. We know that finances, including planning for retirement, is one of the leading causes of stress. It can be confusing and overwhelming. There are differing opinions on the best approach. It can be hard to know who to trust. For our retirement planning, Whitney and I trust Greg Howell of Howell Wealth Management at Northwestern Mutual. Greg is professional, knowledgeable, and accessible. He looks at the whole picture and thinks outside the box to create ways to help you reach your financial goals. Retirement planning can be especially challenging for ministers who do not have the benefit of a 401k, but Greg's expertise and creativity can get you on the right path and give you confidence for the future. Text him to schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at 931-638-1576. Be sure to tell him Ben and Travis sent you.
Welcome in to the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis. We are glad that you are here with us, and we're glad to be able to hang out with some people who are a lot more awesome than we are. So today, Travis, how are you feeling today? How's it going? What's the week been like?
It's been great. Dodgeball wrapped up. It's all this time is on my hands. It's probably fairly dangerous for the rest of the world. Been clipping up some highlights and all that fun stuff, clipping up a lot of the dumb things that we said on a live broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. But it's been great.
Was a scary thing.
It was awesome not playing because I can feel my right arm, and it's Wednesday following. So don't know if I can say that for Will. I don't know if you can update on Will. Is he okay?
He's speaking in Huntington tonight, so I assume that he was able to speak. I don't know if he was able to raise his Bible up enough to do that. He may have had to rely on the podium, but he did speak somewhere tonight, so we're hoping he's okay.
Yeah, at least he can drive a car. Ben, you doing okay, I'm assuming?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great because I'm in the room with some awesome people. I've got JJ Davenport next to me, and I have Pam Lenz next to her. And they are here with us to talk about something that's really special for them, to them, and I think for a lot of people that's coming up. There is the Transform Ladies Conference. It is the inaugural Transform Ladies Conference that's coming up, and we're going to let them tell just a little bit about it. First of all, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm JJ Davenport. I teach music at Mars Hill. I attend Jackson Heights Church of Christ, where my husband's the youth and family minister. And
he's kind of a sort of known guy.
Well,
people sort of know who he is.
Probably. Yeah, more than me.
She's like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, he's been doing the CYC thing for the, 23, 24 years now.
A long time.
I don't even like throwing that number out there, to be honest.
It's frightening in my mind.
We're that old.
It actually has been going on.
Right.
Yeah. So Larry Davenport. So awesome.
Yeah, and that's who I am. And then my good friend Pam is here.
Yes, I'm Pam Lenz. I'm a school counselor by day, and afternoons I work. I'm working on my LPC with my supervisor, Ian, and I'm married to Terry Lenz, who is a fireman, and I just love worshiping at Tuscumbia Church of Christ, and we're enjoying that.
I think Pam has got a couple of episodes and probably in the top 10 most listened episodes of all time. And then, of course, you mentioned Larry, but I just know for a fact JJ is about to knock it out of the park and make his episode look sick. That's what I'm predicting anyways.
Well, that's the goal.
Obviously, we have the cooler of the two, JJ, here with us, and Pam speaks for herself. I mean, it's just that's how it works. So we're actually in awe of the star power that we have on our podcast. And, we'll get into the details of the contract later of all the things we had to do to make this happen. But nonetheless, it is great to have you ladies with us. We're excited for you for the Transform Ladies Conference. Unfortunately, that middle word is ladies, so we probably won't be in attendance for that. But we will be certainly jealous of those who will get to be. And so tell us a little bit about how this came about. Like, What was the idea? Whose idea was it? How did the wheels get turning and going? Because we know how it works to come up with some kind of outlandish ideas and some great events. And then in your mind, it's a really great event. How do you make it happen, though? Because we're still trying to make a great event happen.
I can tell you from my perspective, then I'll let Pam tell you from hers. But the ladies that are in charge of running things at the LeConte Center where we have CYC have approached me for years saying, "You've got to do something. You really need to do something for ladies." And it has never been good timing. I've never felt like, yes, that needs to happen. Yes, we do need something. It's just never felt right. And there's even been times that I've kind of prayed about it, because I told him I would, and it just wasn't good timing. And so, of course, the pandemic happened, and then we had CYC after the pandemic. So this very last one, right? Or the one before?
The one before.
The one before, yes.
Mhm.
The whatever year that was. They had said something to me again, kind of in passing. And I was like, whatever. Well, right after they said something, Pam comes out. We're standing in the concourse, kind of in front of the registration table. And she says, not knowing they had said something to me, "We've got to have something like this for ladies." And I was like, "Oh, all right, God." There's my sign. Huh? And I said, it takes so much to do. I would need some help. And she's like, I'm on board. Let's do it. And the next day I had a meeting with the ladies, just at LeConte, the team there, can this even happen? Can this, is this even possible? And God just moves pegs, and God just makes things happen if it's supposed to happen. And the timing had never been right. And it just was. And I was so blessed that Pam had the vision of doing that and coming to me, because it was just perfect timing.
Well, she was standing with Hannah Bradford and the two powerhouses of them. And I just kind of went, now's my moment, because I wouldn't know how to put all this together. I've helped at Horizons, but I have not been, I don't know the people that JJ knows at the LeConte Center and all of the steps that they have gone through, that she and Larry have gone through just to plan a huge event. I've just been on a committee, and so I thought, well, I'm going to toss this out there, because women need that so much. We love to be together. So important sometimes for our ladies to get together and away and to have some time. And women love to talk and have some fun, and but mostly to just grow spiritually. And it's just something that women need. There are very few around, and women are just starved for that, to have a conference where, we can grow and
Get refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that comes the name. We tossed out a lot of names. And so we kind of went with to Transform Ladies Conference. And if you look at the initials, it's TLC. So let's have a little TLC for our weekend and take care of ourselves and a lot of things. So that's where that came from.
And Ben and I will not be there performing any TLC songs. So
That is right. No,
do not expect that. That is not.
it's not happening.
They want people to come.
We did kind of talk about what
We're
would
not
we
chasing
do.
any waterfalls or anything like that. Is that TLC? I don't know. Anyway, don't go chasing.
It was,
waterfalls.
yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Well, we wondered about how if you guys could come up with when we're talking about something fun or whatever, if the group, you guys could come and do some skits for women, but we wondered how hard that would be for y'all to come up.
It's a matter of,
Or either it would be easy and we
You
would be
don't want
slammed.
Daryl.
So.
You don't want Derek in that blonde wig again. It's enough.
it would either be really great or it would not go over well at all. It would offend everyone.
Y'all would be so nervous.
Well, the fact that before we ever perform at CYC, we have to get a couple of the wives in the room and perform it and go, how was that? Is that okay? Before we ever take it out in public. So it is, we do usually get a few female stamp of approval.
I'm sure there's more than one skit that should have left on the drawing room floor.
Yeah.
But usually, what is it, Travis? If Travis says, let's do this, and Beth Rosenblum says you probably shouldn't, that's the sign that it's not, we should take it off the table.
Yeah.
'Cause usually it's the two ends of the spectrum.
There are very rarely times where I'm like, yeah, we shouldn't do that. So that's not a great, if I did say that, that would be dangerous. But
When is the conference? We haven't talked about the date yet.
The conference is October 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Okay.
So coming up in just under 2 months. And we've over 700 in
Awesome.
registration as of this morning, which is really good because it's the inaugural year. I'm actually really surprised, to be honest. I mean, I was there at the beginning of CYC, and we had no aspirations for that becoming anything more than what it was, but God blessed it so much and continues to. And that's just been our prayer. But we're dealing with a much smaller audience that we're geared to. We're just geared to women, and kind of more specifically kind of upper teens to 104. I think if you're older than 104, maybe there's another conference for you to go to, but that's kind of the age limit on that. But
I feel like somebody's going to get left out. Still.
The response has been incredible, and it just assures me that yes, this is so needed.
and still time to register. And excited about doing that. What's the website that they can go to do that?
www.tlcladies.org.
Tell us a little bit about what all is going to happen on the weekend. Like what's, I'm assuming you guys have some speakers, you got some different activities. What's going to happen?
Yeah, we actually are going to start Friday night. We start Friday evening about 7:00 because Friday's probably going to be a travel day for most people. Go about 7 to 9. We have a speaker, we have singing, we have some games. We have some fun things that are going to happen. Saturday morning, we'll have some more, kind of start with some hype and end with some hype. So we'll have some things to kind of get everybody awake and some fun things. And then we'll have 2 speakers on Saturday morning and kind of end with some fun things and have a long break Saturday afternoon because women like to shop and women like to take their time when they eat. And there would be some time just to be together with your sisters and have some fellowship time or some rest time, whatever you need. On Saturday evening, we have a few different speakers that are doing short speeches, and it's about some different things. Travis, your wife, is one of those. I don't know if you're aware of that. And she's going to be speaking about some things that are touched on in her book. We have Kate, who I can't say her last name, but she's from Ukraine, and she'll be talking about her experience. So we have a few different, Pam is going to share with us that night as well about her season of maybe waiting, her season of having to be patient with God, and just basically sharing their story, because everybody loves to hear stories. And when you can tell a personal story about how God has brought you through something, I think that's so important. We have some other things planned for Saturday night that are going to be a lot of fun and kind of end well. And Sunday is just worship. The husbands are going to take care of that. Matt Hupel is speaking, and it's going to be a great weekend.
It's awesome.
We packed a lot in. It's going to be a lot.
We're going to have some really awesome speakers. Of course, JJ is going to speak one of the times, and also Kathy Turner, as well as Debbie Doopy. Debbie's written a lot of books. And also Saturday night, Celine Sparks is going to be doing some comedy for us, but she has written a lot of very funny books as well. And she is very talented speaker and author, and she is very funny.
That's going to be like an all-star lineup. It's amazing.
Yes.
I mean, that's some great. I've never heard those ladies speak, by the way, but I know those ladies,
yes.
and I know a lot of the stuff that they've written. Have seen a lot of the stuff they've written and been around them, and they're just awesome people.
And they were very eager. I don't think it was hard even to convince them, to come. And I think they were just know how much women need that.
Yeah.
And they've spoken at ladies' days back and forth, but they're just like, I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And that's been a very encouraging thing.
I see a lot of them on a lot of those lists for ladies' days. That's another reason I know it's an all-star lineup because I've been there. But
we were very
just
fortunate.
And I think they're pleased with the topic too. Our theme this year is enough. And I think as women, I mean, that can be taken a lot of ways. But as women, we're expected to be enough on all areas, enough of a mom, enough of a wife, enough of in our job, and we can't be. And Allie B. Stuckey wrote a book called You're Not Enough and That's Okay. And I got it because I was like, what in the world is this talking about? And, without God, we aren't enough. And it's okay. We can't be everything. And women need to know that that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to not have dinner in the crock pot when you get home and you're having to, run through fast food. That's okay. It's okay. But I don't think society and social media are allowing us to be okay with just doing enough.
I mean, I assume you have some long-term plans for this too, or is it kind of like we're going to get to this one in October and see what happens? Or have you guys got some future ideas for going forward?
We definitely want to make this a yearly event,
yes.
for sure.
Mhm.
October is a really busy time. I think there's actually a home football game while we're there that weekend. So I don't know, depending on dates and things like that, that may be shifted. Fall is beautiful in Pigeon Forge, though.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we definitely want to make this something that women have to look forward to, and that they can kind of put on their calendar and just know that this time of year, that's what's happening. But I do know what it takes to go to put into, planning this kind of thing. I don't think there's a day that goes by, literally a day that goes by in the calendar year that Larry's not doing something for CYC, taking phone calls, taking emails, making plans, getting schedules, ordering things. It is a huge undertaking. And of course, we're not nearly to where that conference is. So I think this is something that we can grow into, definitely.
I don't know how that feels to have to do something every day for CYC, but I do know how it feels to get a text from Travis every single day, multiple times a day.
Pretty much the same thing.
So it's kind of the same deal.
Right.
I would assume is the case, because we text a lot and we plan, but it's not on the same scale that you guys. Like I said, we're trying to figure out how to make a dodgeball tournament get a little bit bigger, so we can see more people get hit in the face of the ball. Y'all are talking about women being enough. And so that's, it's definitely making a little bit bigger of an impact.
Dodgeball was amazing, though. That was a fun day. Y'all did a great job with that.
We did.
I think that two things that are neat to me, and obviously on this podcast, telling people's story has been a big part of what we try to do here. And it's not just because Whitney's going to get the chance to tell her story, but it's a little bit easier to get deeper. I think as preachers and teachers, sometimes it's kind of easy to keep people at a distance. And you need that to some degree. But then when you get up there and you start telling stories and you show, and we'll use the phrase, apologies to all English teachers out there, but when God shows up and shows out, and the opportunity for people to do that sort of thing. Talked about Pam's episode earlier on this podcast, and was her telling her story. Kind of a plug to go back and check that out as a preview for a big weekend in October. And then the other thing is that it is a weekend. A lot of times ladies' days are kind of a single day event, which you can still get pretty deep in the scriptures on a day event, not casting shade on that, but to have an entire weekend set aside to dig deeper, to get a little deeper, and to let that transformation happen just sounds like an amazing opportunity for everyone involved.
For women too, to have that length of time to build that connection. They're going to, a lot of them have got cabins and places where as a group, from home congregations, or even I know some are just gathering as friends, they're at different places and they're coming together. And they can build that connection or restore that connection. And that's so important for all of us as Christians. But women really seek it and need it just to have that connection. So I think that's going to be a huge part of that weekend. And people can plan all year to have even their own retreats. They can make it that weekend where they do things. Instead of having their ladies retreat, well, they can come and have their ladies retreat, but at the Transform Ladies Conference. So, hopefully that will build. When I'm thinking about the future, have it where that's the weekend. That's when, that the congregations are like, that's when we're going to have our ladies retreat.
And of course, the overall idea and the hope is that God is glorified through all of the efforts. I mean, it's not anything if God's not glorified through this. Our verse, like our theme verse for transform, is 2 Corinthians 3:18, which talks about being transformed into the image of God, which is that's the life of a Christian. You're changing, you're becoming someone different every day, hopefully moving forward. And so that's the overall thing. And so I guess our long-term goals are, if this is something that God wants to happen, it will happen. Just like we've seen before, he'll move pegs and he'll put people in the right places and make things happen if it's something that needs to keep going. And we're going to try our best to make sure that we're on the right path too.
Well, I think it's an awesome thing because, like you've already said, it's a weekend. It's in Pigeon Forge. It's kind of away from family. They get to go, and hopefully most are going to get to go and have that time with other ladies. Let their family stay home. Let dads, do our part that weekend. Let you guys have that time, because a lot of ladies don't get that time, to really just unplug and be in that special time with each other very often, at least for a long term. You might get a day or two, but you get the whole weekend. I'm looking forward to hearing great things about it. I know that my wife is excited about it. And so we're ready to see what God's going to do through it. So I think it's going to be awesome.
JJ, one of the things that I've noticed on Facebook is that you also have a group called Equipped. And I know that you post in there quite often little thoughts, devotional thoughts, and things that challenge. I know it's made mainly for the ladies. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's just a little private Facebook group. And I started that during the pandemic because I was doing Bible studies over the phone. And I hated it. I had a couple of ladies, 3 as a matter of fact, that I was studying with. And the problem was, I loved doing a study with people one-on-one, but it had to be over the phone. We couldn't be face-to-face. We couldn't be in the same room because everybody was at home. And I could not remember what I had talked about with each of them. And these were new Christians. And so I said, you know what? Let me do this. Let me just make a little private group for the 4 of us on Facebook. I can put out a lesson. Then y'all can just text me questions. You could, message me questions. You could put things like that. And they said, great, let's do it. Well, of course, I did it. And then the next week or so, one of them said, hey, I've got a cousin that wants to join this. Is that okay? And I was like, I mean, why not? It's, and so I post on Mondays and Wednesdays typically, and I keep it pretty short. It's basically a thought or just, something, mainly what I'm struggling with, to be honest. It's mostly things that I need to hear because that's what you're, studying about. And so I guess it just kind of word spread. I have over 2,500 ladies on there now. So not necessarily a mega church, but
Look into that direction.
But from 4 to 2,500
4 to 2,500. And
the multiplication.
And I think the beauty of having a little something like that is that I keep it short and sweet. It's nothing over 10 minutes, and it's something that will just give you a little bite of something positive. And it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing to me. And it's also helped me realize how much transform is needed, how much this TLC conference is needed, because women send me messages, tons of messages about, I just need a weekend away. I just need some refreshing. I'm a better mom if I could just step away for a minute and then come back in. I mean, everybody knows that. And so maybe this will provide a little bit of respite, a little bit of just kind of maybe a mountaintop experience where they can come back home and be a better mom, be a better wife, be a better sister, be a better friend.
I do think there's a hunger, for the information and for that camaraderie and that connection.
Well, I think what the Bible teaches and what we're taught in the church is so drastically different than what's going on in social media and what's going on in the world, that we've got to figure out like where our place is. And it's just doesn't seem so black and white anymore, and it's getting kind of grayed, and we're looked on differently if we think differently about something or don't agree with everyone. And it's just tough. We need a place, and we need a place where we can go and feel safe and be able to be with people that are like-minded and learn and grow together.
Pam, you mentioned that you were continuing your education to become a counselor, and Ben is helping you in that process. So as I've told on the podcast several times, I think we can never have enough counselors, and especially ones who believe in the ultimate counselor, Jesus. And so if I know that you're looking for some clients, and is there a way to kind of get in touch with you and kind of get that process started?
Sure. Yes, I'm working on my LPC, and under Ben, he's helping me. He's my supervisor, and my number is 256-415-6767 if anyone is looking for a counselor that's in the Shoals area. And if you call that number, we'll work on getting an appointment time that works. Typically, my open times are in the afternoons after school because, like I said, by day, I am a middle school counselor. So I'm working on that.
Just to get to know you a little bit, I know you got a bunch of these because you're also show choir director, right?
Yes.
So you're driving in the car, and you may be one of those like me. I don't care if there's anybody in the car with me or not.
Mm-hmm.
A certain song comes on the radio, they're getting the full performance. They're getting the whole thing. Maybe the backup singers, the air guitar, the whole thing. I don't care who's in there. What song or songs fall into that category for you, JJ?
Ice Ice Baby, Vanilla Ice. Pretty much anything by Aerosmith.
Yes.
Sweet Child of Mine. Let's see. I mean, I went to high school in the 80s, so I mean that's what you're getting. Actually, like Little REO Speedwagon, maybe. And then REM. Gotta have them. Okay, and literally anything from Journey. Literally. Hall & Oates. I mean, I'm a music guy person. This is going to be like
so basically, if any music that's ever been made, she's going to jam out to it.
I think that was an entire genre you just mentioned. I like it.
She takes kids in high school and makes them jam out to the songs that she would jam out to, except doing it on the stage and in choreography, not dance.
And in costumes. And I had my middle schoolers right now are learning a Carpenter's piece. And of course, they've never heard of the Carpenters. And I didn't tell them these were like big, in the 70s. And so I had a parent stop me in the hall and was like, "You're teaching the Carpenters?" Because I was listening to my oldie station and my daughter's like, "Turn that off." And then the Carpenters come on and she goes, "We're doing that in chorus." And I was like, "Yep, you're welcome."
All right, Pam, it's your turn. What song do you jam out in the car, regardless of who's in there? It comes on, you're singing it.
Stevie Wonder, Superstition.
I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you.
And Casey and the Sunshine Band, just about anything. Boogie Shoes. I don't know. Those get me. And actually, that is my Friday Pandora selection in the middle school counselor's office. I crank it up and I'm in there going, "Let's have a good weekend." And I'm playing the station that plays funky music. And that's what I'm in there, enjoying. And so that's my jam in my middle school counselor's office. It might not necessarily be in the car.
Sounds like we need Pam and possibly JJ running the playlist next year for Dodgeball.
Oh, yeah.
We're super excited about our first year here for Transform Ladies Conference. We do have registration open right now, but we also are getting pretty close to maxing out for this first year. So if you are on the fence about registering, go ahead and do that, www.tlcladies.org. And it's got all kinds of information on there, schedule. It's got some hotels that are offering discounts if you haven't got a place to stay yet. And just pretty much bios about speakers and things like that. And it's going to be an amazing weekend. It's going to be wonderful.
Yes, we're super excited. We want all the ladies there and as many as we can fit in that room. And we want to raise the roof and praise to God. So
awesome. Sounds like a great time. Thank you, ladies, for coming on. I'm fired up. About 700. That is just phenomenal. All praise to the Lord. And we just know you're going to have a great weekend and come back fired up and ready to serve in your home congregations as y'all all do such an amazing job of doing. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for being on here with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.